mechanism. If you see here, from this camera to this camera, mobile camera, now this huge speaker to very small speakers with same wattage. Now here you can say with the older age mobile to smart mobiles, now smart televisions. Now here you can say our trains are also getting smart. So these are the some small features that you can easily identify in your product. So everything is getting smart. So when we talk about everything, so why we always forget to talk about our industries? So if we have to talk about manufacturing, so nowadays manufacturing is not only manufacturing, manufacturing is now we also known as smart manufacturing. So earlier we are doing only manufacturing with our plants. Now we are trying to do smart manufacturing so that maximum variety can be produced with same capacity, with same area. So when we talk about smart manufacturing, it is none other than Industry 4.0. For that, we have to work. So we started our journey from Industry 4.1, Industry 1.0, where electricity, this steam powered given a very major changes to industry. And in Industrial Revolution second, we have electricity. People has think about this mass production because of this electricity. When we talk about Industrial Revolution third, under that basically automation came in picture. So with the help of some electrical, electronics, we done good automation. Now, if we talk about today's revolution, that belongs to Industrial Revolution 4, that is having one step beyond automation. When I say beyond automation, it means we are basically, first we have to go with automation, then we can manage all the things through some, we are basically going to merge our physical world with virtual world with the help of different technology. One of the technology you must have heard IoT or IIoT, Industrial Internet of Things. So this is one element of like Industry 4.0. There are so many other technologies that is going to play a major role under this. Now, when we talk about robot, so you can find these robots is present everywhere. If you talk about automotive industry, if you talk about electrical industry, metal industry, plastic, food, any industry, if you see a picture of any industry, you can easily identify good numbers of robot units are installed. So if I have to cover this Industrial Revolution 4, so under smart manufacturing, so you can find one major technology on that we have to focus on robot. Then other is Internet of Things, then simulation part we have to focus, then cyber security, system integration, cloud computing, 3D printing world, big data management, augmented reality. So these are the few technology. If every industry going to focus on all these key elements, all these key technologies, that means we are easily basically going to upgrade our technologies or industry from 3.0 to 4.0. So this is the basic thing that we have to work upon in future. So these are the some latest trends and technology that you have to learn so that our industry can get benefited by all these things. Now come to your opinion. So I have covered around 5-6 slides. So with the help of these slides, what I have covered, can you say robotics is still a choice for us or it's a need? If you talk about 5 years earlier time, so I can say at that time, 5-10 years back, robotics was choice. But nowadays, it is a need. You cannot compromise with this robots. If you are doing anything, any small thing or any big things, if you are in productions, if you are in inspections, if you are in assembly, so you have to have used these robotics things. So now I can strongly say robot is a need. It is not a choice for us. So we must have to learn all the in-depth knowledge of these things. So today's session I have planned, that's why on robotics. And if you see the current scenario, this coronavirus pandemic, it's impacted our manufacturing industry a lot. So here you can say the first impact is economy. It goes down. Under coronavirus guidelines is given, we have to follow this social distancing thing in our production lines. Also, we are running sort of manpower shortage because every labor class has moved to their native places. So if these three things, if these three problems, suppose we have to overcome, means suppose we want to rise our economy, suppose we have to follow this social distancing thing, and suppose we don't try to compromise with this manpower or this production. So there is one solution that you can offer to your industry, that is nothing but a robot, because here for machines, there is no social distancing kind of thing. And here again, machine can replace up to like certain percentage to man. So here you don't have to worry about some labor. So here, if you are going with some robotic system with your organization, it will definitely improve your quality and also your production rate. And definitely it is going to like increase the graph of your economy. So these are the few things that you must remember. It is very growing fields. We have to have adopt this technology in coming 5 years, 10 years time. And why we go for robotics? So there are few major benefits that it offers. First and most important benefits that robot can offer is repeatability. If you have to do repeatable tasks, suppose I have to assemble any engine, suppose I have to shift one object from one place to another place for 8 hours shift. So for human being, it can be a boring job. But if you are placing robot at that particular place, so that can be easily done. So repeatability is the best characteristics that robots offers. And other things, whatever thing I'm going to like cover here, like adaptability, it can be easily adaptable to your system. So you cannot have to like change whole production line or whole assembly line. You can place few robots on your assembly line based on their adaptability. So it is having accuracy features. So it provides accuracy, it provides flexibility. Robots are also known as flexible system. Like if you are placing robot in any system, so it converts that particular system into FMS, flexible manufacturing system. So it offers speed. Most of the robot you can find working at 2 meters per second speed. Definitely, if we are going to work with high accuracy, flexibility, speed, it is going to increase your job efficiency. And this is again a major advantage that it offers. It never strikes. There is no limit. You can go 24/7. And if you are using robot, your competitor will have to like match your quality things. So you can stay competitive with robot. And it also offers good ROI, return of investment. Robots are costly, no doubt. But if you are planning robots for your industry for next 3 years, if you calculate, or for next 5 years, suppose you are going to calculate your ROI. So it is having good like figures. So you can have better ROI with this robotic arm. So now here I have one question with you. You have to answer this question in your chat box. Suppose I have to define robot. If you look at this picture, this is the basic element of automation. Suppose worldwide, anywhere you want to apply any automation thing. Suppose any traditional process you want to convert with some automatic process. So you have to work with these basic 3 elements. First element is input. You have to play around sensors so that you can get proper input or feedback. You have to work with this controller also. So this is second element. And you have to work with this actuating devices. That can be hydraulics, that can be pneumatic, that can be electrical. So worldwide, if you see any automation, you can find either systems are hydraulics, pneumatics are electrical based. Suppose if these 3 elements are there for any automatic process, so where we can fit our robot? Can we fit our robot at input? Can we fit our robot at control level? Or can we fit our robot at this third output level? or robot is presenting all together. So here you have ABC option. You can easily reply this question where I can fit my robot in basically these elements, where it at input end, at output end, or at control. So can anyone answer this question? Okay. So here, those who are having answered like it can be fit into output, that is very correct. But it can be also fit into altogether manner. When we talk about only this manipulator, so robot is also known as manipulator. Basically, we are manipulating things with the help of this robot. So if you see robot, I am having a robotic arm. Just a minute, I will show you. So here you can see this is robot model. So if you see this robot, so this is a robot. So if you observe this robot closely, it having some mechanical structure. This all body, you can say it's having some mechanical arrangement. But how I'm going to move this particular joint, like how I am going to achieve this motion? So I have to place some motor here. Suppose I want to move this particular joint, I require this particular motor. Suppose I want to move this point, so we require some motor at this end. So for each and every axis moment, we require motors. So here you can see, if just focus on my slide, I'm just giving you an idea. So here basically robot or manipulator can be a electromechanical. So here basically we are using electrical principle, motors principle to move our joints. So most of the time robots having this electrical actuation. So when we talk only about robot, it can be fit into output end because it is having some actuation system. But when we talk about whole soul robotic system, this is robotic system. When you are going to purchase this robot, so you will get this robotic arm. When you are going to purchase robotic system, that means you are going to get few more things. Few more things means robot will comes with their controllers, with their teach pendants. So these are the things that you will get while you are going to purchase your robot system. So robot is basically giving you some input device with the help of teach pendant. Control means robot having their own controller like C2, C4 are the series name. For output, you are using some electromechanical actuators. For joint movement, we are using electrical motors. So when this question comes to you, like how we can fit robots, so robot can be fitted into output end, but robotic system can be fitted into all end together, like input, output, and control. So this is the basic myth. Whenever we are going to talk about robot, you always assume robot as a humanoid thing. So it is, when it comes to robot, people always imagine like humanoid things. But it is not the true one. It is not applicable with all robots. Robots can be humanoid, but you have to see other kind of robots also. So you can see here humanoid robot. So humanoid robots comes at 4th generation. So whatever robot we are imagining, it belongs to 4th generation of robots. So see here, if I talk about generation of robots, so you can see at 1960, we started with non-servo robot. So first we started with non-servo robots. So here you can see non-servo. So that was the first kind of robot. So this is second kind, introduced in 1980s, servo controlled robot. So most of the industries using, if you see and look into industries, so they are either using servo controlled or non-servo controlled. One step beyond, if you go, 3rd generation introduced worldwide in 1990, where servo controlled robots has been used with some AI, artificial intelligence concept. So it is more like intelligent robot, you can say. Now, whatever robot you are imagining in your mind, that is humanoid, that belongs to fourth generation. That came into existence after this 2000. When we talk about fifth generation, on that worldwide researchers are working, that is biological robots. Biological robots are going to give you miniatures, like robots can produce robot. This is the basic principle. If robot is producing their own clone, so that can be considered as biological robots. So worldwide research is going on this robot. But when we talk about industrial robot, so industrial robots majorly comes or majorly covers all these first three generation, where we can talk over this non-servo or servo plus AI control robot. So today's session is basically based on only industrial robot. And why we are always comparing any robot with human being, because we are having few similarity. If you see human being, so they having bone for body structure. So for robot, we have to do mechanical structure. In human being, muscles provide some power. Suppose you have to move any joint. So with the help of muscles, only you can move. So in robot, we are placing motors or hydraulics things or pneumatics things so that it can be actuated. Human having some senses means they can sense certain things based on their body tissues. Tongues can sense the taste, nose can sense the smell. So there are several things. With the help of that, we are getting some input. So that can be easily replaced with the help of some sensors. Then reciprocation can be replaced by AC/DC power. Human brain can be replaced by controller of the robot. Knowledge of human can be easily put all together in the form of program. So there are few similarity you can find in robots and human beings. So because of that, we always compare these things with the robot. So worldwide, if you see, there are some stationary robots category, wheeled robot, legged robot. I must say, and all of you must have come across any robot. Some have come across this robot, some have seen this particular flying birds. So everyone is well aware with all different types of robot. But if we properly classify this robot, so what is robot? First understand, robot is a machine designed to execute certain tasks automatically with speed and precision. And if these things we are getting, then that means we can say that particular device as a robot. So here another definition is given. Robot are computer coded software enables the automation of repetitive rule-based process, mimics interactions of users, work across functions and applications. So these are the few basic definitions that is given by different people. But this you have to remember, if you have to classify your robot with two things, with industrial robots and with service robot. So these are the two major fields normally that covers under robot classification. So industrial robots, as name says, like it is mostly used for industry. Service robots can be used for domestic uses, can be used for professional uses. And when we talk about manufacturing robot, so manufacturing industrial robots can be used for manufacturing purpose or logistic handling purpose. So I think you have idea about this automated guided vehicles. So that can be used for logistic management, and also we can use robotic arms. If we go for manufacturing industry, so machine tending operation, machine removal, palletizing, material handling, welding, assembly, and many more. Many more means there is no limit. If you have any idea in your mind, you can easily implement that idea with robot, because if you go with robot definition, so this is the standard definition that ISO people says. So here robot is automatically controlled, reprogrammable, multi-purpose, manipulator. So manipulator is the standard term that you must remember. In layman language, people always say this is robot. But in scientific language, you always have to say this is a manipulator kind of thing. So it's having 3 or more axes. So if I summarize this definition, so I can find these 4 terms. For to qualify as a robot, a machine must able to sense if they having sensing ability. So I can say it can be called robot. If they can carry different tasks, if they can reprogram, or if they having 3 or more axes. So 3 or more axes means these axes can have either prismatic or revolute motion. Prismatic means always linear kind of motion we are getting left to right. But when we talk about revolute, so it means we are moving in degrees. So here displacement in mm, and in case of revolute, we are moving in some degree, 100 degree, 50 degree, like that. Our robotic arm, robotic joints is moving. So for defining any machine as a robot, if you find all these 4 qualities, I must say, if all these 4 qualities are present under any machine, I can easily designate that particular machine as a robot. So it is very, very important. So you just compare this robot with CNC. Can we say, like, from last 2 sessions, you are learning CNC in very depth. Now, can we say CNC as a robot? Because can CNC having 3 or more axes, so it is applicable. CNC can also reprogram. It is also done. CNC can also do different tasks, like you can machine, you can drill, you can tap, you can chamfer, you can fillet. All these things we can do, surface finishing. So different tasks can be done. If you mount smart sensors, so it can also avoid collision and other things. So can we designate CNC as a robot now? Anyone can unmute and say if they are having answer about this. Can we designate CNC as a robot now onwards? If all these qualities, yes, if you are saying yes, that is okay. If you are saying no, why no? अभी एक आंसर आया no. So can you elaborate? क्या वजह है कि हम इसको CNC नहीं कह सकते हैं? Can you justify your answer? या फिर आज के बाद हम CNC को रोबोट बोलना शुरू कर सकते हैं? So I can explain you why we cannot CNC as a robot, because of this characteristics. It cannot do multitasking. अभी जो मैंने explain किया, what I explained, suppose I have this workpiece. Suppose I want to make some hole here. Suppose I want to make some curve here. Suppose I want to remove some material here. So these are the different operations. For that, I have to program this. So this is good. CNC having more than 3 or 3 axes, this is good. It can having some sensor, this is good. But here, carrying out different tasks mean not only in machining field. If we are doing machining can have several kind of operation. But can my CNC machine do painting operation? Can my CNC machine doing able to do this gluing operation? No. Can our CNC machine do assembly operation? Can our CNC machine do like inspection? So these are the few limitations. If we have to change totally domain, machining domain can be easily covered by this CNC, but other domain, painting, assembly, even inspection thing, so that cannot be covered by this CNC. So this is the major, this is the main reason why we cannot say CNC as a robot. Based on their multitasking property, it is not available with CNC.
Thank you.
Yes. If you categorize your industrial robots, so majorly people are categorizing their robots on the basis of geometry or structure, how robots looks like, or based on their control system. There are more than 10 types of classification available. Based on that, you can classify your robot, but these 2 systems are very famous. Either you can classify your robot based on geometry or control system. I think some having their mic on. Please mute.
I bet you could come to New York on this thing. California? Australia?
Let me check. Yes, thank you. So if we going to like classify our robot based on geometry, so I can have basically these 5 kind of robot. I can have Cartesian robot, जिसको कि हम linear या gantry robot भी बोलते हैं sometimes, because all motions of these robots belongs to linear motion. When we talk about jointed arm robot, that robot I have shown you in demonstration just few minutes before, that is articulated one. So this is jointed arm having 6 degrees of freedom. It is also known as articulated robot. Robots can be cylindrical, robot can be spherical or polar, or it can be SCARA robot. So these 5 classifications of robots are like very much popular in case of industry environment. When we talk about Cartesian robot, just try to focus on this. Cartesian means also sometimes it is known as rectangular robot. So it's having all linear motion. So here you can say linear, here linear, and here linear. So all motions is linear. When we talk about cylindrical robots, so it's having one rotary. So one rotary or revolute and rest two linear. So here you can easily identify how robotic arms are moving. Then again, when we going to compare it with the spherical, so spherical having 2 revolute joints. So one rotation, second rotation, and last one is linear. When we talk about SCARA robot, double RP means 2 revolute and 1 linear. When we talk about jointed arm robot, articulated robot, it is having all revolutes. So it is also rotating, this joint is also rotating, and this joint is also rotating. So here all together we are getting revolute motion. So why based on this linear and rotary motion, you can classify your robots in different way. But if you see this SCARA robots having double RP configuration, and if you see this SCARA robot, it's also having double RP configuration. Means 2 revolute, 1 prismatic. SCARA also having 2 revolute, 1 prismatic. So how you can like classify if I'm saying this having different joint configuration, but this is having same. So how these 2 robots are different? If you see their work envelope, the area covered by this robot, for this Cartesian, because all axes are linear, so we are getting perfectly rectangular box envelope area. If you see this cylindrical, so we are getting some cylindrical kind of envelope area here. But these 2 robots having similar joint configuration, but if you see their work envelope or area covered by these robots is totally different. It's having some sphere kind of thing. This is spherical robots having some sphere kind of thing area, but it's having this kind of area that it can cover. You can see in diagram. But when we talk about articulated, so it's having maximum envelope area that it can cover. So that's why you can find articulated robots are mostly used by industries in higher percentage. So more than 60% robots belongs to articulated category. Worldwide, if you do survey with each and every industry, you can find 60% robots that placed in industry belongs to this jointed arm or articulated category. And in second number, you can find Cartesian or linear robots. And at third place, you can find SCARA robots. So these are the top 3 robots that are most popular in industries. So one having pure 3R configuration, articulated 60%. When we talk about linear robot, it's having all prismatic. So 3P are there, and around 20% robot it is used by industry. And when we talk about SCARA, it's having 2 revolute and 1 prismatic. Around 10% robot you can find with SCARA. So these are the some statistics that you must remember if you want to work with this domain industrial robots. So which robots is most popular in industry? So you can straight away say articulated robots are quite popular in industry. And when we classify our robot based on their control system, so control system means we have to remember two things. Control system means how we are going to control our motion. So how we are going to plan our motion and how we are going to move our robot. So whenever we have to this say joint strategy, motion strategy, it means either it is open loop or it is closed loop. So these two systems we have to focus whether you want servo control robot or non-servo control robot. And second thing that we have to consider under motion planning, what kind of path you are going to take. If you are taking random path, that means suppose we have to move robot from A location to B location and you are not going to freeze the path. So it means it randomly, it can go with any shape. But if I am freezing my path with linear motion, it means in linear manner, my robot will move from point A to point B. In same way, you can have also this circular motion. So with the help of this, you can move this A point to B point in circular or in some arc manner. So all these knowledge required while we do our programming. So remember this PTP motion. I'm going to also cover some programming part under this. Like you have to identify what kind of motion path you want to implement. So it can be pure PTP, pure linear or pure circular, or it can be mix of anything. You can merge PTP with circular, you can merge linear with circular, you can merge linear with PTP. So it can be any combination. So now I'm going to just focus on robot system. So far I have covered robot in detail. What is the definition? What is the classification and all? What is their major advantages? These things I have covered. Now, suppose you want to program your robot with the help of some manipulator. How you are going to program? First, you have to understand what is robot system. As I told you, if we talk about robot, so robot means robot can be this image, what you see at the top corner, right corner, this can be robot. But when we talk about robot system, so just see, this is our manipulator. So first thing you must see under robot system, you require few more components other than manipulators. Other components, second component you can see here, controller. So controller must be there if you talk about robot system. Third system that is used for input purpose. This is known as teach pendant or smart pad. With the help of that, you are giving some instruction to your robot. The instruction that you are providing with this teach pendant is not directly feed into robot. First, suppose you are there and you're having this teach pendant. So you have to instruct this teach pendant will go with controller and this controller will go and communicate with this manipulator. So when we talk on this robotic system, it means it must have robot, it must have controller, it must have teach pendant or you can say input device. So these three components are very, very essential, but sometimes you have to consider this linear unit. Linear unit means most of the time, see, if I'm considering this robot can be fixed as ground. But suppose I have to work here in another table. So how can I move this robot? So for that, I have to install some linear axis. On that, this robot is mounted and it can travel from one place to another place. So linear unit is another one major components of any robotic system. Last but not least, here you can see some table arrangement. Suppose you have to perform any task, you require some table arrangement. With the help of that, you can easily assemble the part or you can easily assemble the component that you are planning. So table is again one thing. So what we have learned with this robotic system, so here you can see all these things, all these 5 things are essential component while you are using robot for any application. You must have robot, you must have handle this controller, you must have to handle this smart pad. With this linear unit, you can compromise, but you require tables. So these are the components that we normally have to use with robotic application. And if you further break your robotic arm, you can find further few components. Just for your knowledge, the base is known as base frame, this particular unit. Then just above that, we have rotating column. Then here in vertical format, we are having one arm that is known as link arm. And horizontally, we have, if I'm going to merge arm here, so horizontally, I have one arm that is also known as wrist arm. So three things you must remember. One is rotating column, link arm, and wrist arm. So just I am going to demonstrate with the help of model all these things. Just wait for a minute. So see, focus on my video. So this is your robotic arm. Suppose this I'm having robotic arm. So this particular base where I have hold this robot, this black portion, this is your base frame. And this particular unit, this one is known as rotating column, because first of all, robot start rotation from this. So this is rotating column. And vertically, if you see, we have, after rotating column, we have these two things. One is this vertical one is known as link. Which link? This is link arm. And this is another, say, link you can say, but this is known as wrist arm. So horizontally we have one link that is known as wrist arm. This vertical one is known as link arm. This black portion is known as rotating, this base frame, and this rotating column you can find just above this base frame and below this link arm. So these are the some important component that you can find in robot itself. And you can see in slide one more component that is known as counterbalancing. Suppose your robot is fixed and you are doing certain tasks and you are stretching your robots full and final state. So you have to maintain the CG. You have to take care of the control and load all together. So how you are going to maintain the CG of the robot so that balancing can be done? For that, we have some arrangement here at the rotating column. It is not always present with each and every robot. When you go and work with high payload capacity robot, where the load capacity is more than 100 kg, then you can find these kind of arrangements are present with robotic arm. Now moving to the next. So here I have shown the complete architecture. Now it's time to like merge all components together and see the circuit diagram. So with the help of this teach pendant, you are providing input to controller, and that particular input processed by this controller and it directly goes into manipulator. If suppose I have given axis 1, suppose A1 axis, suppose I want to move 120 degree, and suppose robot compares their current position. If suppose it is 119 degree, so 1 mm more required to feed. So for that, some feedback system is there. So ultimately you are going to achieve this 120 degree position with any axis. And at the end, you can see here, after manipulator, the structure that I have shown is related to manipulator, but manipulator cannot perform any task unless until you are going to mount any tool. So you can see here, so many tools are there at the end of this robotic arm. If you recall the robot definition says robot is multi-purpose. Suppose with this robot, I want to perform pick and place operation. So I have to work with this gripper thing. So I have to mount this gripper here. Suppose I want to perform welding operations. So with same robot, I have to work with this welding gun. I have to go and install this welding gun here at the end of the axis. Suppose I want to perform painting operations. So some spray gun, suppose with the help of that, I want to paint some certain thing. So I have to mount this spray gun here. So based on our need and requirement, I have to switch to different tool. So if you identify the architecture of robot, so these are the essential components: teach pendant, controller, manipulator, and end effector. So these are the things that you have to work all together. I'm just going to float one quiz. You can see here. What is robot? Just answer in your mind. I think you are easily able to now answer all these simple questions. What is robot? Option A, it is a programmable device. It is a multifunctional manipulator, or it is both, or none of the above. So those who are answering both A and B, robot can be programmable or multifunctional manipulator. Moving to the next question. What is the name of the information sent from the robot sensor to the robot controller? Just use your mind. Suppose you have to send one information from robot sensor to robot controller. So we have to play with signal, feedback, output, or information. If you have seen my last architecture slide carefully, you can easily answer. You have to work with this feedback mechanism. Now, this is the last question for this particular thing. Which part of the robot provide motion? Suppose you are using electromechanical. So you can find robots having some mechanical structure, but how we are going to move these different joints? So the motion of joints can be achieved by controller or sensor, actuators, or all of the above. So I think you must have correct answer in your mind. With the help of actuators, you can basically actuate the things, so that it can be, mostly it is electrical based, but it can be hydraulic also, it can be pneumatic also. Now, this is very important part, because at the end of today's session, what I'm planning from each and every participants are easily capable to produce their own program, how robots can be programmed. But for that, the very essential things, first you have to understand robot, that you have already done. Then second one is you have to understand robot system, that we have also done. Then how you are going to identify that particular robot means robots selection is major criteria. So robot selection, how you are going to select any robot for your application. So these are the few things that you must remember. Suppose you have to plan any car for your home. So suppose I'm planning this car for my home. So what I have to do, I have to first go with three choices. Either I can go for hatchback or sedan, SUV, or a small car, suppose you say. So I have three choices. I can go with a small car or SUV kind car. Yeah, here I can go with sedan. So if I'm finalizing like SUV, so how much seater? I am planning for 5-seater car or 7-seater. Suppose I'm planning for 5-seater. So how much cc engine I want? So I want beyond 1500 cc engine with that. Now again, maintenance. So what would be the maintenance of that particular car? So these things you are basically going to calculate while you are planning a car for your family. So in same way, suppose you are planning a robot for your manufacturing plant. So you have to correctly identify robot based on their application, their load carrying capacity, their degree of freedom, based on their maximum operating range and repeatability. These are the top-notch criteria. There are few other criteria also, but you must have to work with all these five criteria. You cannot compromise with any criteria here. So if we talk about application, so application means whether you are going to use your robot with wall mount. See here, first two robots, this robot is wall mount, Then here you can say this is rail mount. So on linear track, you can say here in first picture, it is moving, it is sliding, or it can be AGV mounted. So here you can say at the bottom, we have automated guided vehicle. So with the help of that, we are basically placing the moment of this robot. So on the top, we have mounted robot, or it can be like roof mounted. So you can hang your robot in this way also. So in this way, you can select your robot. So which type of placement you want. Then second criteria is how much load you want to like handle. Suppose this is a robotic arm that is having a small payload capacity. Suppose this robot is having 3 kg payload capacity. So robots always having some numeric number. Suppose I am designating this KUKA AR16 robot. So KUKA is a make. There can be a other make also, Fanuc, ABB, Motoman, Yashikawa. So robot manufacturers worldwide, you can find so many manufacturers are available. But after that, you can find this. Suppose I'm designating KUKA robot KR16. So K stand for KUKA, R stand for robot, 16 stand for 16 kg payload. So with the help of this robotic arm, you can carry 60 kg load from one place to another place without compromising their repeatability and accuracy. If you are going beyond this 16 kg, suppose you have purchased 16 kg payload capacity robot and you are using that particular robot for 30 kg work. So it will work. It is not going to deny your like task. But after so many years, you can see there is some repeatability issue. So if you want to do task with very high repeatability, high precision, so you must obey this basic fundamental. Don't go beyond the payload capacity of the particular robot. And if you see the number of axis things, so that model I have presented in front of you having 6 axis robot. So 6 joints are there. In same way, here you can see number of axis. So robot can be start from 1 axis and it can go beyond 6 axis also. So these are the things you must remember, like with how many axis you can easily work out or easily manipulate your work. Because as high as you go, suppose from 3 axis to 4 axis I am going, it is going to add some additional cost. So for each and every axis, you have to pay additional cost also. Now, next criteria was what is the operating range. So operating range means how robots are going to work. So here see, the work envelope developed by any robot, how much volume any robot is going to cover with their surroundings. Because in 80% application, you can find robots are always fixed. So suppose this is my robotic arm. So this is fixed. So whenever I'm going to fix my robot at one place, so we have to take care of this area where it can work or where it cannot. Or in some cases, it can move on linear track also. Now the last criteria that you must always remember in case of suppose you are having some accuracy, you are having some repeatability issue, accuracy related issue. So you must buy good accuracy robot. So it can be comes with 0.06 mm repeatability to 0.01 mm repeatability. Suppose I'm using 1 MIG application robot, and suppose with same robot, suppose I'm going to control laser. So we are not going to get high repeatability here, because suppose it is having not very good repeatability, that cannot be used for laser. For laser, we require very high accuracy robot. So whenever you're going to buy any high accuracy robot, after like KR16, you can find some abbreviation like HA. HA means high accuracy. So suppose KR16 comes with like 15 lakh price. If you go for HA, it will come nearly around 20 lakhs rupees. So it is going to add some cost also. So HA means very high accuracy. So it all depends upon your application. where you require that kind of accuracy or not. If that is not the major concern, then you can go for generic robots. As I said, there are so many other criteria. Life कितनी होगी robot की, क्या cost होगा, controller किस type का होगा, running cost कितनी आएगी, energy कितना consumption करेगा, what is the maintenance, noise level कितना है, vibration level कितना है, mounting pattern and placement कैसा रहेगा. So these are the few other criteria. Based on that, you can also select your robot. Now coming to the interesting part of this session, how we are going to program our robot. So worldwide, people are like programming robot by these two methods, mainly online or offline. So online method having again two categories. You can see here, this is two way of programming your robot online. In first method, it is known as teaching method. So with the help of this teach pendant, you have to program your robot. So in second case, this is playback method. So playback method means, suppose you want to move your robot. So with the help of your hand, you can easily move your robot. It is going to store all the points. So these robots having some force and torque sensor, inbuilt force and torque sensors in their arms, and some memories with each and every axis. Suppose by using this playback method, suppose I am moving one robot from A to B with this path. So it is going to store this path. How it is going to store this path? So it's having some mechanism based on that. Basically in 1 second time, it is going to store around 40 points coordinates. So it is going to like find some 40 points in between this line in 1 second time. So all these point data, coordinate data is stored with robotic arm, with robotic joints. And when you play back, as name said, playback. So whatever motion you have given to your robot, easily you just have to move this robot once and it is going to store that particular path. How it is going to remember? Based on their like coordinate point storage capacity. But the major drawback with this playback method is you can only handle a small size robot. In industry, you can find robot more than like 10 fits, up to 10 fits size, or 5 feet size, 6 feet size. So you cannot handle this playback method, or you cannot use this playback method with huge structure robot. So you can easily, if I'm going to give you percentage, so 90%, if I'm comparing these two things, online category. So most of the time you can find 90% teaching method is used for online category, and 10% we can go with this online. So here no skills required. So straight away you can like jump from your like chair and you can start programming. So there is no skill required for this playback method, but you cannot handle much application with the help of that. But if you want to like program it with the help of your teach pendant, and mostly these categories are used by industry, so you require some skills that I am going to give you in some percentage today's session. In today's session, I will discuss that also. So my major focus today is to give you some idea about teaching, how we have to teach robot, how we have to program robot with the help of teaching. And there is one more category, offline programming method. Like this is available with, I think, each and every field. So you have to simulate your things. Suppose virtually you want to simulate and you want to identify where collision is okay, it is not happening, robots are not colliding, height of the robot, distance between two robots, reachability of the robots are perfect or not. So you can use this simulation environment. So for each and every make robot, they are providing different kind of simulation software. Like suppose you want to work with KUKA, so they are having KUKA SimPro. So with the help of that, you can create your offline program, and that program, if your virtual environment, if suppose this is your virtual environment, on that you have like plan certain thing. So the same code can be transferred into real world. Only the condition is each and everything with this layout should be same in real world. If the placement of your robots and the height of your robots, each and everything is not going to match with your real world, it means you are going to have some accident. So most of the time people prefer this online method, but if you see the advantage of this offline, it is having huge advantage. You can easily create your cell. This is real life cell, real world cell, and this is virtual cell. So the cell construction take like 6 months, 1 year time while you are working with actual installation, but it can be done in 1 hour time also with the help of some simulation software. There is no need of installation and commissioning. You just have to pick and place the robot, conveyor, any other components. So here, suppose you want to change anything in last minute, you can easily do, because we are in simulation environment. Suppose I want to place this particular yellow robot at this corner. So I can easily do that by just clicking, just it's matter of one click. We can animate our thing and we can see, as I said here, we can see whether these robots having proper distance or not, whether they are colliding or not. So that each and every parameter, critical parameter can be checked. And the most important thing that you can have with offline, if you are working with offline, cycle time validation. Suppose you have two ideas. This is very interesting thing. Please focus on my slide. Suppose you have two ideas. Suppose this is my plant. Suppose I'm going to place this robot I'm having 6 robots. Either I can place 6 robots in this way, or I can place 6 robots in this way. So all these robots having different. So here I'm placing my 6 robot. So if you see, the layout is totally different. These two layout having totally different thing. Placement of robot is totally different. Suppose suppose you are not very sure which layout is best for you. So you just create this. You have to just create this layout on simulation software. You can run your simulation and you can see. If suppose I'm running this simulation for this layout, suppose it is taking 63-second time for production, for one product production. And this layout is giving me only 60-second time. So it means I'm going to have this particular layout in my soft floor because it's giving very good cycle time. So these kind of checks you can easily do with the help of some robot system. For online, as I said, you require this teach pendant. So teach pendant can be different types. So you all are engineers during your engineering, you must have your scientific calculators. So either it can be FX100 having different model, like FY991 having some different model. So in that way, for each and every robot, manufacturers are providing different kind of teach pendant. But the ultimate goal is, with the help of this teach pendant, you are providing input data that can be processed to controller of the robot. So here I'm having one very good question. Suppose you are having an industry in that, suppose 100 robots are placed. 100 numbers of robots are placed on soft floor. So how many teach pendants are required for an entire production? अगर आपको पूरा का पूरा 100 रोबोट्स को हैंडल करना है, सो कितने टीच पेंडेंट आपको लग रहा है कि लगेंगे? हर रोबोट के साथ आपको लग रहा है कि मेरे को टीच पेंडेंट चाहिए, या एक से काम चल जाएगा, या आपने ग्रुप बना दिए हैं एटलीस्ट 1 पर सेल. सेल का मतलब हो गया ग्रुप ऑफ रोबोट्स आर प्लेस्ड हियर. सो दिस इज सेल 1. यहाँ पे मेरे कुछ 6-7 रोबोट लगे होंगे, तो सेल 2. सो या तो यहाँ पर एक रख दे, यहाँ पर एक रख दे. सो या तो हमें हर सेल पे एक इशू करना होगा, या हर एक रोबोट पे इशू करना चाहिए, या एक ओवरऑल के लिए भी सफिशिएंट है. सो दिस इज वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन एंड फ्यू पीपल कैन answer correctly. I think during my training I can find rarely right answer for this question. So the right answer is, with the help of one teach pendant, one one smart pad, one teach pendant, I can control my whole production shop. So there is some trick, but it can be done with one. So you must remember this thing in future. Now it's time to learn few more things. Like you can have good number of companies that are producing industrial robots. It can be KUKA, the famous one I'm just taking. It can be Istanbul from Germany. It can be Komao. It can be Fanuc. It can be Mitsubishi, Motoman. It can be Nachi. It can be Panasonic. It can be ABB. It can be Adobe. So there are so many companies, those who are involved in production of industrial robots. So few years back, one Indian company started production of industrial robot. So this is an Indian robot, Indian industrial robot. Name of this company is TAL, Tata Automation Limited. So Tata Automation Limited started first kind of their industrial robot. Nowadays, Indian peoples are working on this robot so that the bulky structure can be reduced. So there are some drawbacks with this robot, but if you see the accuracy and other things, it is good. But if you compare like TAL robots with Fanuc, KUKA, so you can find they are taking more space. They are not having that much speed that we can achieve through Fanuc and KUKA. So there are few drawbacks, but people are working day and night to overcome all these things. But the best thing is, or the good thing is that we have started production in this domain also. So here, why I have placed this slide here, because you can see for each and every robot, they are using different languages. Suppose you are planning to program your robot. So there are big list, you can say, for each and every make. ABB using Rapid, KUKA using KRL, Komao using PDL2, Yashikawa using Inform. Like that, so many people, so many robots, so many people are using different languages. So how can you start learning with these things? So one thing is common. If you want to learn this programming, so in all languages, you can find one common thing. All languages are structured programming languages. So here I have put in this funny picture. It's having a meaning a lot, like importance of paperwork. Suppose you want to become a good programmer in robotics field, you always have to work with paper. Means you have to write your program first on paper, then you can go for implementation. If you directly go and implement your program, so you can have accident also with robot. So we have to very take care while we are working with robot. So we have to do a lot of paperwork. And with our seniors, we have to first justify our program, whether this is going to work or not. So in that way, when we talk about structured means, you can see here, structured always means, yes, this one. So if you are having some idea how my program is going to flow, like how I'm going to start my logic. So that logic can be converted into any languages. It can be ABB robot language, it can be Fanuc language, it can be Pascal, it can be KUKA robot language, it can be C++, any language. If you are good enough here, if you are logical here, so you can easily convert that logic into any languages. That is a matter of few days learning only. But when we talk about robot programming, so these three elements are very important. Apart from logic, how you are going to control your motion commands, how you are going to provide some logic, how you are going to provide this tech packages. If you observe any program, so you can find all these three components are there. So here, if you are following the thumb rule of any language, so your program must be efficient. This is normal demand. Suppose I'm hiring you as a programmer. So what is my expectation? So you must produce efficient program. You must produce free from error programs. You must produce a program that can be easily understood by anyone. It should be maintenance friendly also. Clearly structured hona chahiye so that I can make the changes, and also it should be economical. Economical means here a program can be written in a way where it can take few minutes also. In same way, I can produce a program that can take few seconds also. So we have to control over our you can say language so that cycle time can be optimized. So before going to apply your program on robot, so you must have to take care of robot safety. So robot safety, very, very important. These are the some operations that you must remember. You must know how we can move robot. Suppose I want plus X minus Y or plus Z direction. So you can easily able to manage all this direction. Then only you can plan your robot for any motion. Mastering is a kind of reference. So you must set your reference. Suppose in case of CNC machine, suppose X, Y, Z, we have to set 0, 0, 0. In same way, for each and every, suppose I'm having 6 joint robot or 3 joint robot. So for all these 3 joints, I have to set certain reference. So with that reference, I can move my robot from one point to another point. So after this, you have to take care of your tool also. Your tool should be calibrated, your base should be calibrated, your robot should be calibrated. So all these references we have to set. Calibration means we have to set robot joints references. We have to set our tool reference. We have to set our base reference or workpiece reference. So if you are good enough to handle all these 5 operations, means you are straight away ready for programming. So with the help of this, we can program our robot. When we talk about motion command, so what are the elements that you have to consider under motion? You can see, as I have already discussed, motion can be PTP motion, linear motion and circular. So कहाँ पर किस टाइप का मोशन हमें अलाउ करना है, that you must remember. कितनी वेलोसिटी के साथ हमें उस मोशन को एग्जीक्यूट करना है, किस टूल के साथ यूज करना है और किस वर्कपीस के साथ हमें इस मोशन को एग्जीक्यूट करना है. लॉजिकल कमांड ये हो सकता है, लाइक सपोज मैंने ऑपरेशन ए किया और ऑपरेशन बी करना है मुझे, बट मैं इसके बीच में मैं चाहता हूं मेरा 6 सेकेंड के लिए रोबोट स्टॉप हो. सो आई कैन गिव सिग्नल डिपेंडेंट, आई कैन गिव time dependent wait function, I can switch to different application, I can couple and decouple different things during operation. एक tool को drop करके दूसरा tool मैं pick कर सकता हूँ, ठीक है, in that way. So we have to take care of this logical commands also. Tech packages में क्या होता है, suppose you are working with robotic vision. So with the help of robotic vision, you can easily work with teach pendant जहाँ पर vision से related input पूछे जाएंगे. Suppose I am handling this ArcTech. ArcTech, suppose I have installed under my robot. So it is directly going to ask what kind of rating you want to give your welding, what current you want to do, what is the wire feed rate, what is the gap between workpiece, and so all these parameter it is going to directly ask. Otherwise, you have to work in depth also. So HMI can be easily converted based on your application so that you can easily give your inputs. So this is the way, like it can be PTP, it can be linear, it can be circular. When we say logic commands, so it can be having different loops also. For loops we can apply as we apply in C, in same way while, repeat, loop. So these are the few logical commands that we can do. And technology commands, like in case of gripper, so we always require this gripper can be open or close. So how these gripper tech can be installed? You just have to install one exe file. With the help of that, this particular things start appearing in your programming line. So this is the basic structure. I am going to introduce each and everything here. All these 3 things. First was my motion related thing, second was my logic related thing, and third element was my technology package related thing. So how you can see? So you can find, so this is a program. I have created program with name pick. If I'm considered this loop and end loop, so this comes under logic command. Also, if you see this, wait 3 seconds. So it is a part of logic command. When we talk about gripper status open or close, see here in this line now. So here state of the gripper, I am just putting close. So this can be considered as technology related command. Rest all commands that you can see here related to PTP, linear, PTP, all these are basically motion lines. So motion lines basically carry the coordinate information. So P3, here you can see P3, but P3 having certain structure, certain value X, Y, Z, A, B, C. So this having some readings of all these joint. So that's why robot automatically goes from P2 to P1, P1 to P3 in that way. So this is the basic structure of program, and the organizers has planned 2 sessions related to robot. In first session, in current session, basically I am giving you idea. In my second session, that is planned on Friday, I'm going to show you some critical programs, how you can create your programs. So that practical session we will do in Friday. So all these things we will cover under that in detail also. If you see the latest trends, so latest trends means humanoid robots are also there, but human and industrial robot collaboration you can also find. So robots are working together here. So smart grippers are available. You can easily integrate your program. You can easily simulate your program. You can handle your program with some cloud data. Programs itself can optimize. So these are the few latest trends that people are following. And here say in earlier days, robots having some defined area in that robots work, and these operators are standing outside that particular cell. Now, after that, robots are working in their envelope and human beings are working in their envelope. Now, in latest time, you can say they are sharing some common area. So that is known as cobot principle. In that, you and robots are working together and sharing some common area. So in that, many research are going on. So, and here you can say cloud-based robot operations are going on. So this is again one latest area where you can have work. Because of space limit, people are started working with this small robots. So small miniature robots are there. So its robots can be easily fitted into 600 by 600 area. So this much small robots are available nowadays in market, so that easily you can opt this robot where space is major concern. You can go with a small size robot also. When we talk about application, so in general way, robot can be used for industry, used for professional, used for space purpose, used for security purpose, used for domestic purpose. But as today's session is based on purely on industrial robot, so here you can say industrial robots can be used for joining, packaging, assembly, handling, machining, surface coating, loading, unloading, inspection. So these are the few applications where industrial robots are already used. Wood industry, aerospace industry, medical industry, building, metal, entertainment, machine tool, machine tending, printer, injection molding. So there are so many fields where robots are used. But if you see the top 3 application, if you identify top 3 application of robot, so handling operation always comes at number 1. So more than 40% applications that is done by robot is related to handling. And at second place, you can say welding is majorly covered by this industrial robot. Around 30% robots are used for welding. And at the third place, you can say assembly operation. So 10% robots people are using in industry for their assembly purpose. So handling, welding, and assembly, these 3 applications are majorly used. Here I have given some few more pictures. That is the latest application that is having good research capability and all. And all these, whatever application now onwards I'm going to show you, that is available in AKGC campus with Robotics Center of Excellence. We are having robotic vision system. We are having robotic machining. So with the help of this robot, we can machine any structure. We can create a sculpture. We can create dies. So milling can be done with the help of this robotic arm. Robotic deburring operation we can do with the help of this. So these facilities are already exist in our campus. We can do ultrasonic welding. We can do robotic 3D printing. We can do robotic laser. We can do force and torque sensors kind of things. We can do automatic tool changing kind of thing. We can do robotic spot. We can do robotic time twin, जिसको कि tandem wire भी बोलते हैं. Here weld deposition rate is very high. 30 kg weld material can be deposited into 1 hour. So here twin wire welding can be done. So that is available with us. We can do with this CMT. With the help of this CMT, we have started working over VAM. VAM is a very hot field. In that, good research is going on. Wire arc additive manufacturing. We don't have to depend upon manufacturing 3D printing, metallic 3D printers. We can directly use this robotic arm with controlled welding power supply. So here power supply is CMT, cold metal transfer technique. With the help of this robotic arm we are using, and we are producing good parts. So we are also doing good research in that. And robots are not untouched by this medical industry. You can see here, many robots are used for scanning purpose, industrial robots, for operation purpose, and for other operation, for other purpose also. So 18, you can say 5,000 units were sold, and it is predicted around 2022. We are going to sell out around 20,000 units worldwide in the medical industry. And if you see different application, so here you can see with each and every, here dual acting gripper is used. So at same place it is doing inspection, material handling. So at the same time it is loading and unloading. Here you can see huge assembly is handled by a group of robots. Here on linear track, our robot is going and doing operation. In forging shop, we can mount robots so that heterogeneous operations can be done. So if you just Google it on by putting name industrial robot application, you can find n number of applications. See here, near around furnace it is working. So we have covered robotic arm with some heat resistance material. So welding, casting, all these critical applications can be done with this robot. So you can find good number of applications with each and every robot. And if you see the job opportunity, so there is one survey that is done by World Economic Forum. By 2022, over half of the all workers in India will require to reskill to meet the talent demand of the future. Suppose we want to reskill ourselves. So why we are going to reskill? Because there are good job opportunities that is present while we talk about robotic domain. So after learning these things, you can become a robotic engineer, your student become a robot technician, software developers are required, integrators are required, operators are required. So all skill set jobs are available in the field of industrial robotics. Kindly motivate your students and other faculty members like to promote this technology among students so that they can have some idea about this, and they can easily fit into upcoming industrial environment 4.0. So when we talk about SCARA, I'm going to answer it. It having 2 Revolute, 1 prismatic. So what is the best characteristics of industrial robot? If you remember my words, with the help of repeatability. So this is the best one that we can have with robot. Most popular application, just I have covered. In top 3 application, material handling is the best operation, that is covers around 40%. So just to conclude my session, if you want your Indian industry become world class, suppose you want your Indian industry become world class, so automation and robotics technology will play a key role in that. We all need to be geared up. So it is all from my side. If you have any query, any questions, you can unmute yourself and you can directly ask to me. Also, you can just provide your feedback. Here I have planned one feedback, online feedback. In that, like you can see the smiling, different smiling faces are there. So whatever is in whatever state you are feeling, you can directly give me feedback in chat box. So I'm open for questions. So you can start asking me question for any further inquiry in future. You can just note down my number. I am available at this number, Panta 9, then 30502. My name is Vikas. I'm basically handling robotics center here at AKGC. Under AKGC, basically we are having 10 different center of excellence. So one center of excellence in the field of robotics that I'm heading. There are many more center of excellences are there. So for any inquiry, for any query, for any projects, you can directly contact to me. I'm having, like I have experience in this field more than 10 years now, I can strongly say, in robotics domain. So we will do few experiment parts in my next session that is planned on Friday. But before that, you can ask any question. I will be happy if you ask any question to me. Yes, over to you. Over to participant. If you have any questions, you can ask me. So if there is no question, I think we can stop now. I think another session is planned after like 1 hour break. So you can have your lunch and have a good day. So thank you from my side.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
विमलेश सर, विमलेश सर, वासुदेव सर, वासुदेव सर,